We have data science, we have generative AI, agentic AI, we have like ML ops. So there are a lot of fields that we have. As a fresher, which field we should proceed ahead?
Is the difference between a title and a role.
Can you please explain the AI pair programming part? What exactly is this?
So AI pair programming is you are the pilot of your code and the AI is the co-pilot.
Guide a student with some of the project you think, okay.
Creating dashboards is still one of the most difficult things because you have to understand the business. One recommendation would be that you at least categorize those skills. You know, these are for your machine learning, these are for your, let's say, Linux, these are for your deep learning, right? Or ML ops. At least categorize them.
Hi everyone, Ashish this side. Today we have a very special guest with us who is Sampoorn Ratan Jain. He has 10 plus years of experience in the field of data science. He has worked on 100 plus projects across different domains of data science, be it ML, be it deep learning, be it generative AI. He's the kind of person who I admire the most because he is into the industry from last 10 years and he has seen the industry growing from machine learning to deep learning to generative AI and now working on agentic AI. So if we get an advice from the person like them, so that would be beneficial for us for sure. So hello Sampoorn sir, how are you doing?
Good, doing good. How are you, Ashish?
I'm doing good as well. So today I have a couple of questions with me, which will be beginner friendly for the students who are very fresher. So first question is, sir, there are a lot of fields in data science, right? We have data science, we have generative AI, agentic AI, we have like ML ops. So there are a lot of fields that we have. As a fresher, which field we should proceed ahead and what's the basic difference between all of them?
So as a fresher, one of the most critical things that a fresher needs to know is the difference between a title and a role. So there are, in my opinion, only 5 roles. First one is the Python developer. To do that, you have to just learn Python and have some sort of an AI pair programming setup, right? That is now necessary for not just for Python developers or data scientists, but for every software developer, IT person, technical person, right?
Sorry, so can you please explain the AI pair programming part? What exactly is this?
So AI pair programming is you are the pilot of your code and the AI is the co-pilot, where with a few taps it's able to basically autofill some part of the code, build some basic logic, but the entire complexity of the project is owned by you. All the menial tasks of loading writing the code to load a file, right? Or just importing all of the libraries. You don't need to do that anymore, right? This is how your productivity effectively increases, where you are focusing on the more complex tasks rather than the simple tasks.
So can we say it's a basic of like vibe coding or level 1 of it?
It's not, yeah, you can say it's a level 1 of vibe coding, because the difference between vibe coding and AI pair programming is that you let vibe coding be your vibe coding tool be the pilot and you are the co-pilot, whereas in AI pair programming you are the pilot and the co-pilot is the AI. Okay. That's the huge difference. It might sound small, but it's a huge difference, right? There are a lot of advantages to AI pair programming over vibe coding. I know we are deviating and moving on a tangent, but yeah, all of the security aspects, all of the scaling aspects are handled much better by humans even to this day. Your vibe coding tool will not have a proper database design schema. It will not be, whatever output it generates, it will not be VAPT tested, right? It will break continuously. Those are a lot of issues that vibe coding personnel are still facing. And we are still far away. When I say far away, in the world of AI, far away means maybe 2-3 years. Right? But we are still yet to reach there, okay, in 2025. Okay, so the first role was Python developer. The second role is the data analyst. Now, the issue in understanding a data analyst is that it's an overlap, and you will see that in multiple roles in what I'm going to talk about. You will see that in multiple roles, okay. The data analyst is a combination of a Python developer and a business analyst. He is a person who understands business, who understands data, who understands basic coding, who understands how to create dashboards, who understands how to communicate the requirements. So a communicator is the first person that should be looking at a data analyst role, right? You have to know how to story tell, right? Tell a story, not just with data, but with applications, requirements, documents, even mails, right? Obviously, in a face-to-face conversation, you still need to know how to do a storytelling, right? And it's not a natural skill. It's a skill that you learn with the time, with practice. The third role is the ML ops engineer. Again, you see an overlap. This is the person who knows a bit about data science, a bit about machine learning, and DevOps. So there's a proper overlap, right, with the DevOps field. Okay, so they will be the person who know better how machine learning works, and they will be the person who will, learn how to deploy these models. So that's a very necessary skill today, right? And sometimes you need that skill. So that's a very necessary skill today, even in this day and age of Gen AI, right? The fourth role is the Gen AI developer. This is the person who is doing all of the LLM API calls, fine-tuning your SLMs, fine-tuning your LLMs, creating prompts, doing prompt engineering, right? Obviously, they still have to know how to develop in Python. They still have to know how to work with the AI pair programming tool. Yeah. But they're working with LLMs, right? Okay. Finally, the fifth role is the data scientist. In my opinion, this is the full role. So all of the things that a Python developer does, all of the things that a data analyst does, all of the things that a MLOps engineer does, all of the things that a Gen AI engineer does, a data scientist has to do. Plus, they will also have to learn all of the maths associated with data science. Okay. So these are the 5 roles. Titles may be any. A senior Python developer, senior ML engineer, or ML engineer, right? They might be any, but roles are these 5.
Okay. So one more thing, like I might interrupt you in a lot of things because I'm also asking this question as student point of view. In agentic AI, we have couple of tools. For example, Cursor is one of them, right? What are the tools that we have in pair programming?
Again, Cursor is a good example. If you look at Cursor, there are 3 modes of Cursor. One is Ask, one is Chat, and another one is Agent. If you remove the agent part, right, your Ask and Chat are still good AI pair programming tools, right? Same goes for GitHub Copilot. Claude Code. There's a new tool launched by AWS called Kira, right? It has, I think it was released 3 days ago.
Maximum like 4 to 5 days.
Yeah. So it's right now, it's currently completely free for everybody to use. Okay. But again, this is a trap. They will be making it free for a few months and then they will charge you, right? But yeah, there are many AI pair programming tools. What my recommendation is, look at your current development toolkit, right? Look at your current IDE. Is it VS Code? Then yes, you can use GitHub Copilot or add extensions such as Roo or Cline, which are free and open source. What my recommendation is, stick to your current IDE because you know how to work in it. Your productivity there's a slight downtick in productivity when you switch to a new IDE, right? But if you keep the same IDE and then you add AI pair programming or vibe coding extensions, then you can increase your productivity. You won't have to learn the new IDE.
Now we have discussed there are different job titles that we have in
roles, not titles
that we have. And inside that we have different titles. That's why I've seen in some of the job description, the descriptions are of a machine learning engineer, but that the title is like a data or a deep learning engineer. So that might differ because of that. Now the thing is that let's stick to one thing, for example, data science, because the rest of things are ocean on its own. If a fresher wants to make a project or want to start their career as a data scientist, what are the projects they should have? How should they proceed ahead, and like about that part, the project?
So there are two aspects to this. First is, I remember in college, I was quite curious, and data science was literally just starting then. It was 2014-13, right? And I wanted to know, when the weather is good, are people happier? So what I built was I called a simple weather API, right? And I basically built is a classifier, is the weather good or not, by literally manually annotating the data. Okay. Then I pulled in the Twitter API and looked at sentiment classification. So I had a hypothesis. It was personal to me. It did not make sense as a project anywhere, right? It was personal to me, and I had a curiosity, right? With this hypothesis, I concluded that yes, when it is not 50 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Celsius, people are happier, right? So that was a very obvious, that seems like an obvious conclusion, but now I had empirical proof. So the first aspect to this is, how should you decide on a project, is what are you interested about? Yeah. Okay. What are you interested about? What are you passionate about? What are you curious about? It should originate from you rather from the outside world. I still don't think such a project exists, and it was not a huge project. It was maybe even at that time it was like 500 lines of code. It took me two days, right? Okay. The second aspect is, there are a lot of content in the world. But the disadvantage of having a lot of content is, most content creators, and I'm saying bad things about content creators in front of a content creator. But yeah, most content creators are really eager to publish something. So what they'll do, they'll pick the simplest possible approach and publish that, right? So whatever blogs around projects that you see, right, they will be like that. If you are able to find any one person, source, or kind of a website where you have slightly more complex projects, stick to it. Okay. But simply following a blog one-to-one is no longer a project. Nobody cares about your MNIST dataset classification. Nobody cares about your CIFAR dataset classification. Nobody cares about a simple RAG chatbot today, right? It has to have some sort of complexity. It has to have some sort of quest. But the story does not end there. Nobody cares what you learnt about. Everybody wants to know. When, for example, I am hiring you, right? I literally don't care if you know everything about 20 fields. Not just data science, let's say 19 other fields, right? But how beneficial will you be to me? If I hire you and I have 10 projects lined up, how many will you be able to take up? How will you reduce my load, right? So for that, you have to understand that nobody is just looking at the tech aspects. People are also looking at the business outcomes. There's a word called business outcomes. How did it impact? What did it improve? What did it reduce? What changed because of your project? And again, this is where ChatGPT, Gemini, all of these tools can come into play. You can still develop the same technical project, a simple SQL CRUD project, create, read, update, delete. You ask ChatGPT that this is my project, convert it into business language, and fabricate some sort of hypothetical advantages. Okay. And again, if you are a fresher, people will understand that you have not done a real project. But if you add proposed 20% reduction in time, proposed 20% increase in accuracy, they don't care about your F1 scores or your AUC curves. They want to see what is the business impact. This is the huge differentiator. There will be 10 differentiators. There will be 10 people with the same project, But with your language in your resume, it can become a differentiator. I'm not saying that don't do any technical projects. I'm saying do those technical projects, but present them in a more business friendly manner. Okay. Second is that again, people need to understand, especially freshers need to understand that they are marketing themselves. Do you know what is the average time a resume is read for by any HR or tech person?
I've read like probably 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's close to 6 seconds. But imagine, can you? I don't remember the last time I read a sentence within 6 seconds. So how can you look at a resume? So what are they looking at? Are they looking at your certifications? No. Are they looking at your profile, the text profile or summary or objective, right? Are they looking at your declaration? No. They are just looking at projects. And if you can add a Kaggle link or a github.io link to basically prove all of the projects that you write, nothing like it, right? So the goal of a resume is not to get shortlisted. Well, obviously that is the primary goal, but the 0th goal of a resume is to increase that 6 seconds to 20, 30, 40, 60 seconds. How do you do that? Not by making it more pretty. Remember, these are all seasoned people who have seen the best marketing slides, who have seen all of the pretty pictures. There's nothing they care about other than work, right? So again, do 4 to 6 good projects, add business outcomes to those projects, publish them in your Kaggle or github.io account, add those links just under your name. Nobody cares about your photo. Nobody is going to hire you on your face. If somebody is hiring on the basis of your face, that's a red signal and you don't need to go there, right? So just do those 4, 5, 6 projects. And I'm telling you, doing these 4, 5, 6 projects, let's assume you do one project in a month. How many months is it going to take you? Just 6 months, right? So it's just 6 months of that grit, that hard work that you need to do.
Correct. Right? So talking about, sir, again the projects, can you please guide the student with some of the project you think, okay, the students can make as per this scenario?
Again, like I said, it should come from within and not from outside. Some projects that I find interesting in for around GenAI are something called text to SQL, and I think I'm working with the team to create that project, create a video around that project, create an article around that project. But yeah, that is still at least a couple of weeks away from publishing. So another project that I like is just a plain dashboard. Okay, creating dashboards is still one of the most difficult things because you have to understand the business. You have to understand, just like a resume, people don't spend hours on a dashboard. They are it is expected that close to 20 seconds of looking will be good enough to give a good insight. 20 seconds of looking will be good enough to give a good insight. Now imagine that you have all of these public data sets. There's a very good repository called Awesome Public Data. There's a very good public repository called Awesome Public Datasets. Pick any of those, right? And you create a dashboard. The third kind of project. So one is your GenAI project. Second is your dashboarding project. The third kind of project has to be around text, and not just simple things, right? You should be using some sort of deep learning approach. You have one GenAI project, one dashboarding project. Another one should be a project around text. Okay, you do some sort of problem statement with your text. Maybe again you can use a LLM, but I strongly recommend using some sort of deep learning approach to showcase that you also understand deep learning. Again, that text based project can be anything like question answering, right? Use Hugging Face to do that. Okay, or some sort of summarization. Again, don't use LLMs. Everybody knows that these are simple API calls. Instead, showcase that you did something with a deep learning, complex architecture. Okay. The fourth one can be something around images. Okay. This one you can keep simple because images are still how should I say? Images are still a complex problem statement even for today's GenAI powerhouses. Okay. The last one you should look at is structured data set. Simple tables, one single data frame where you just are able to apply simple machine learning. You should showcase your exploratory data analysis capabilities. You should showcase, no, I'm not just going to apply one single model, I'm going to apply 10 simple columns. I'm going to apply 10 machine learning models. You should showcase that you know about something called as grid search. Right? So if you find these 5 kind of projects, and obviously if you are able to add more projects into your resume while still maintaining a one-pager resume, then definitely do so, right? But yeah, these are the 5 kinds of projects that I would look into. But again, for each project, whatever you are going to write in your resume, before you do that, ask ChatGPT to convert it into business outcomes.
Right. What I like about these projects is, sir, we have dashboard building projects, data analysis. Then we have a machine learning based project. Then we have a neural network or deep learning based project that you are talking about. Then we need to have some vision based project that you have mentioned, image based. Then we have generative AI based.
Yes.
So it will cover everything, right?
Exactly.
So you need to have at least one project for everything and
exactly.
then go ahead.
See, the disadvantage of data science compared to other fields is that things are adding, but nothing is being reduced. Right? For example, the things that I learned in 2015 are still relevant today. This may not be true for a DevOps engineer. For example, there's something called Ansible. Right? I don't know if you have heard of it, but yeah, it is now a really old technology. People are now looking at Helm charts and Terraform, right? But now DevOps engineers, people who are aiming to be DevOps engineers, they don't have to learn Ansible. They can learn Terraform or Helm charts. But this is not true for a data scientist, right? So this is the disadvantage of going into this field. It's expanding. The contraction part is going to come, but it will come in maybe 5 years from now.
So you have mentioned a lot of things about projects, what should go in the resume. So let's dig deeper about the resume part. What do you think in a resume? What a student should write in a resume, apart from projects that you have mentioned, apart from the key highlights, rather than writing, okay, this is the algorithm that I have applied, we should focus more on, this is the final outcome, business outcome that we have. So what other things that a student should have in a resume? How many interviews you have taken?
I've taken more than 500. Okay. And I have looked at more than maybe 10,000 resumes.
Okay, so you are the best person who can answer this.
So there's actually nothing else, to be honest. And it has happened many times that going into an interview, I don't remember the person's name, but I remember the person's project. Because I'm looking at those only. I don't care about the certifications, right? And it's a cruel thing to say, but I don't care about the person's email ID, phone number, name, right? You should have those because obviously how else they will contact you. But I care about a github.io profile, right? Again, we can use ChatGPT to generate that. If you have those projects in your GitHub profile, then you can ask ChatGPT to create a github.io profile.
And I think this can also be a project for the students.
Not really, because again, this is a marketing project rather than a data science project. Okay. Then how many projects or how many competitions has the person participated in Kaggle? Right? Then the projects. I ignore the skills. Okay. Again, a mandatory section. I would not recommend removing those, but I don't care about the skills because these are just tags that people keep on adding. Right? I still remember about a few months ago, I saw a person's resume and HTML was one of the listed skills. Right? Is that an okay thing to write? So if you are adding skills now, one's recommendation would be that you at least categorize those skills. These are for your machine learning, these are for your, let's say, Linux, these are for your deep learning, right? Or ML ops. At least categorize them, right? Okay. What else do I care about? Well, another thing that I care about is the location of the person, because if this person has to relocate, then he will be a slower hire, right? Those are the only things I care about. Your declarations, your profile summaries, your objectives, those are just waste of precious resume real estate.
Right. So even I have also seen this when I take the resume or take the interview. So I have seen a resume where the person has worked on RN, LSTMs and worked a project on top of it. And when I gone to their GitHub profile and GitHub, they have 2 repository. Both of them are cloned from someone else. So that's not something that should happen. If you have done it, make sure you can defend it.
Make sure you can market it.
Yes.
Not just defend it, market it, right? Because giving interviews is also a very critical skill, right? And this is something that I personally am still very bad at, right? But I struggled with the interviews during my college years, but yeah, I tried to improve on it.
So what are the difference between a good project and a great project? That you think, okay, this thing can be added, apart from the business point of view, these are the key points that you should add. You need to make the project in that perspective. So what else?
So a good project and a great project. In a good project, you're just talking about technical things, right? You have just Python in your good data science project. Okay. In a great data science project, you're able to showcase that you're able to integrate with, let's say, MongoDB. You're able to integrate it with, let's say, some sort of agentic AI, right? Or you are able to integrate it with, you are able to showcase a UI for that. Okay, you are able to host that UI somewhere. There are free servers available nowadays, right? But yeah, that is the major differentiator between a good project and a great project. That it's not just Python or just SQL or just one language. It needs to be it shows that you have the capability, or you are moving towards the journey of becoming an architect, right? So not just Python, not just MongoDB, but it needs to be a sensible thing, right? Because people can create a CRUD operation in Python as well for MongoDB or SQL, but those are not good projects, let alone great projects, right? What was the reason behind adding MongoDB? Can you add a vector database instead of MongoDB? Wouldn't that add much more value? Can you use some sort of tool which is an industry state of the art? Right? Again, that industry tool may be in Python, but again, it's state of the art. That is what makes something a great project, where again it shows that you have not just followed one blog, you have put in thought, you have put in actions, you have put in effort, you have put in your hard work.
So basically, rather than making a project, take in mind as an aspiration that we need to make it as a product.
Yes,
if
that would be a good way.
If want to say it,
that would be a good way.
The person will see.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So about the interview, sir, what are the most important questions that you think you might ask in an interview, and how should a student prepare for it?
So, see, there are many interview guides. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but yeah, one thing that I feel is that is a missed topic and a very critical topic in an industry is people don't talk about the performance of models today. Okay, well, they talk about it, but students and freshers are not learning about it. So for example, let's say a model has a very good accuracy, but it is taking 180 seconds to respond. Will anybody accept such a model? Right? So these are the things. Let's say a model has very good accuracy, takes very little time, but it needs 256 GB GPU RAM. Will anybody accept such a model? So how do you evaluate a model? From the industry perspective is not just your F1 scores, your accuracies. It's how much time does it take, how much cost does it take, how much development effort would it take, right? All of these factors are something that I ask about in an interview, right? Especially for freshers, what I do is I take up that example only, that if model A is giving 95% accuracy but takes 10 seconds to respond, whereas model B is giving 90% accuracy but takes 0.1 second to respond, which one would you take? Obviously model B, right? Now, to prepare for interview, my recommendation is have mock trials. Find a table, find a friend, ask them to take an interview of you, whatever technical questions they might have. And the advantage of this is that you can reverse the roles, right? And both your friend and you have a preparation. And keep those interviews in English. I used to take interviews in Hindi, because it's not a language interview, it's a technical interview, right?
Makes sense.
But we have to understand that English is the language of the corporate world, right? Some people might disagree, some people might be disheartened by that statement, but yeah, it is the truth, right? So have those in English and try not to have simple questions. And again, over here, we have a lot of interview questions as well. There are many sources as well, right? Have 3 kinds of interview questions. One is a conceptual interview question. So, for example, how does k-means work? One is a code-based question. Okay, for example, can you write down the sklearn code for k-means? The third one is an project-based question. So, you have done these 5 projects. Pick one project in your resume, right? And ask your friend to basically break that project. Where will it break? What are the holes in that project? Ask them to find those, right? And that is where the interviewer will ask the most question, right? If you have done a project, this is the kind of questions an interviewer will ask the most. Okay, they will ask about the project. Okay. Finally, I'll say one thing about the mock trials or mock interviews is that have a printout of your resume. One for the interviewer and one for the interviewee. So not just one, 2, right? So one for you and one for me. Okay. And again, the friend also needs to have 2 printouts. Okay. It should be 1 page. It should be clean, minimalistic. Right? It should not have too many colors. 3 is the maximum. Okay, that's it.
Okay. So a scenario-based question. For example, if there is a person who have done deep learning projects, computer vision projects, and there is another one. But if I'm asking them like how linear regression works, how backpropagation works, if the person is not able to defend those answers and say, okay, I don't know the maths behind it, how would you proceed ahead with that interview?
I would decline him. I would say that if you don't know the concepts, if you're just a coder or a programmer, then you're not a data scientist. There are people in the industry, and I don't want all of our freshers to become that way, right? All of our students to become that way. There are people who are in the industry, 5 years of experience. They have implemented XGBoost and sklearn, and they think that they understand sklearn. We need to understand that why Python was chosen for data science, because it abstracts a lot of complexity under the hood, right? So imagine doing a model training in just 1 line of code. We all know model.fit, right, in sklearn. But this was not the scenario 10 years ago. It would take me like hundreds of lines of code just to train a model.
Exactly.
Right? So because of that, I felt I was lucky. It was unlucky as well. There were no resources at that time, but I had to struggle and understand each and every aspect of the model. Right? It's not expected that you will understand each and every aspect, but at least understand what is the most critical aspect. Because what will happen if you are not able to explain backpropagation to me? Then my next question would be, then why did you use that model? Why not something other? If you don't understand the concepts of the model, people will know, your interviewer will know that again he has just followed some blog, right? Without understanding, without any depth, without any hard work, right? And if I hire this person, that is the kind of behavior I can expect, right? So again, do 5 projects. If, for example, you had 5 projects in your resume, and I asked a question that that was not in those 5 projects, and you said, sir, I don't know this question because I have not worked on it, or I am currently planning to work on it. That would be an awesome answer. That would be an amazing answer. That honesty, that transparency. Obviously, you will still have to defend all of your 5 projects, right? But yeah, if you are able to do that, and you are able to say to me that no, I have not done these other than these 5 projects, I'm still learning, that's an okay answer.
Okay. Correct, sir. So one last question before ending this. Any final advice for the students who are fresher, wants to proceed ahead with this career, especially freshers?
So freshers need to learn how to market themselves, and I'll tell you why. It's not because there's a lot of competition. It's actually the other way around. There is not a lot of competition. What I see is, so I have a junior of mine, right? Technically very solid, does a lot of hard work, but he just doesn't know how to create a resume or doesn't know how to sell himself. He's not able to get a job. But again, look at his current scenario. If he wants, he can get a job anywhere. Okay, why am I saying that? He is not competing with the 100% of data scientists in the world. He is competing with the 5%, 1%, 2%, right? He wants those kinds of jobs. Competition is not there. नहीं है competition. कोई इतनी मेहनत नहीं कर रहा कि 6 महीने कंटिन्यूअसली 6 घंटे 10 घंटे काम कर रहा हो. अगर आपने वो कर लिया ना बस, और आपने ये स्किल सीख लिया कि हाउ टू मार्केट योरसेल्फ, जॉब की गारंटी कोई आपको खुद दे दोगे, अपनी जॉब की गारंटी. बस वही है कि 6 से 10 महीने अपनी जिंदगी के 6 से 10 घंटे पर डे.
करेक्ट, ठीक है. तो थैंक यू सो मच सर,
थैंक यू
अपना समय देने के लिए.
थैंक यू सो मच.
एंड if you find this video insightful, so make sure to share your thoughts in the comments. If you have any question, do share it in the comments as well. And okay, so if you like this video, make sure to like it, obviously. Okay, so if you find this interview interesting, so make sure to give it a like. If you have any question in your mind, make sure to share it in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer your queries, and we'll see you in some other session, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.